This is Alyssa Williams here with Terry Jones, IBD's commentary editor. How are you doing today, Terry?
Fine, thank you, Allie.
Great, all right. So the election is nearly upon us, and there are a lot of polls out there, but the IBD TIPP poll is known as one of the most, if not the most, accurate among polls. Why is that?
Well, you know, in the last 3 election cycles, that's going back to 2004, we have had the best record of predicting the outcome based on the difference between our final prediction and the actual outcome of the election. So, you know, in 2008, for instance, President Obama beat his foe by 7.2 percentage points. 7.2. That's a lot. Very few people had that. We had it right on the button.
Wow.
In 2004, President Bush was running against John Kerry. And there, a lot of people thought Kerry was going to win. There were polls that had him up by as many as 2 points going into the final vote. We had him up, we had Bush up slightly, 2.1%. And the final tally was 2.5 percentage points.
Okay.
So we were off by 0.4 of a percentage point. And then in 2012, we had another outcome. This one was, everybody was all over the board. But finally, we were a little over 2 percentage points, I think, away from hitting it right on the nail. And when you average all of those together, we have been the most prolifically precise pollster out there. And one other thing I would say, a separate measure of 23 polls in 2012 by Nate Silver, the 538 blog poll guru, found us to be the most accurate in the country. So.
Right. So what goes into that precision? What are kind of the logistics behind the IBD TIPP poll, and what makes it so accurate?
You know, it's interesting because it's a layer of things, but it has to do with doing things right at every single level of the poll. A lot of people think that what a poll is you just call up people and ask them their opinion. That's not it at all. The first thing you have to do is you have to make sure you have a random sample.
Yes.
You have a random sample of people, and you have to make sure that that random sample truly represents the American people. You could have a random sample of people using regular telephones, and it wouldn't represent the American people. So
Right.
we take samples from both people who use landlines, regular telephones, the old style telephone, and cell phones. And that assures that we have a mix of younger people and older people, because it's mainly older people who use landlines, and younger people tend to use cell phones. That's one thing. The other thing is we adjust it at the end. We don't just take the raw numbers and throw them up on a wall and say, okay, that's our poll. We adjust them for the end, you know, the race composition of the country, for gender, for political party affiliation, for a number of different things, so that we can take these our numbers and say, okay, we have too many Democrats in our sample, so let's adjust for that.
Yes.
We have not enough Republicans, or we don't have enough independents. And that's the way we do it. And there's a bit of secret sauce in there that our pollster, Raghavan Mayur of TechnoMetrica, who is a spectacular pollster, he's one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country. He has certain things that he does to the numbers to massage them and to make sure that they are accurately reflecting the real opinion out there that he has gathered. And so it's, you know, it's a little bit, as I've said, it's a little bit science and it's a little bit art. And Mayur seems to have mastered both of those things, the science and the art.
Definitely. So when is the first day that these numbers will come out? Next week, right?
Yeah, next week, October 20th, we will start running our tracking poll. And what a tracking poll is every day you come out with a different poll.
But it's a rolling average.
It's a rolling average. You're going to be doing 6 days of polling, and then you average them, because the number of respondents you get in any one day might not be enough to have a statistically significant number of poll.
Right. Which is
polling
what this
data
is
points.
going for.
That's exactly it. We want to have enough people so we can say this is a this is a reliable sample of people, and that the number will be significant when you see it.
Definitely. So headed into this election, what are some of those different factors like, you know, race, religion, or other factors that are going to be key, do you think, for this race?
The key one, I think, at least in terms from a pollster's standpoint, the key thing, I think, is always, you know, you look at the American population, and especially the voting population, and there are some people who, they say, okay, I'm a registered voter, and then there are other people who are very likely to vote.
Right.
And that is one of the things that we do. We make sure that they're likely voters, not just registered voters, but likely voters. And if you're a likely voter, that means there's a very good chance you're going to go to the poll one way or another, and we have to pay very close attention to them. So I would say, if you're looking at a poll out there, any poll, not just ours, any poll, you want to see that it's likely voters. If it's likely voters, then you're probably going to get a far more accurate reading of what the likely vote is to be, rather than just registered voters, or in some cases they just take people who are, you know, over 18, and they ask them, how do you feel about these people? And some of them have no intention of voting whatsoever. Half the American population does not vote at all, so you know, you know, you can almost exclude them from consideration because they're not going to vote.
Right, exactly. Well, we know you're going to be keeping a close eye on this election from here on out. So for you to get all the details, make sure to check out investors.com/poll. We'll be coming out with more videos in the coming weeks to give you all the nitty-gritty details. Thanks so much, Terry.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.